Hello everyone and welcome to my new video. What is this video about? Well, I am going to try and make a one-man band setup in Ableton using a drum rack. I did something similar years ago in a kind of jazz style, on the push, but this time I'm going to use this old Akai MPD 218, which is still like a really good controller. These pads are very nice. And so the idea is that you make a drum kit, but then you layer in instruments on some of the pads, like over the top of the drums, that can do things like play melodies or play bass lines or chords or whatever. And then you just kind of bash the pads and jam like you're playing every instrument in the band. It's pretty cool. I'm going to be doing this in Live 12, but you should be able to do this maybe in Live 9, Live 8 as well. Maybe I will be using the expression control. So if you have a version of Live that has that, then you'll be able to do this regardless. And you don't need to use one of these. You can use whatever controller you want. I'm using this because I just think the pads are really nice. And the push is just too big to shoot. This is just nice and small to poke a camera at. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a drum kit. And I'm going to do that using a drum rack. And I'm going to do that using this pack from Ableton called the Session Drums Multi-Mic, which is actually not available anymore. However, you can still get it, and I will try to remember to put a link in the comments if you want this. It's part of the Session Drum series, but for some reason it's no longer officially available, but it is still available. It's a bit weird. Anyway, this is a really great pack of drums that have been sampled multiple times, and all the drum hits have got like a room mic, an overhead mic, you know, a top and bottom on the snare and all this sort of stuff. So I'm going to use these to make a drum kit. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Let's just find a kick. Any old kick will do. Yeah, that one will do. Right, I'm going to put that there. So I'm going to do this in my own kind of finger drum style, which is I have the kick here, closed hi-hat here, open hi-hat here, snare here, and maybe here and here, tom, tom, ride, crash, crash, whatever. And then I'm going to use these other pads and some of these pads to trigger instruments. So apologies that the mic will pick up the sound of me hitting them, but I'll mute it when I'm actually going to rock out. So let's go and find a snare now. There is a snare I like very much. It's here somewhere. It's the bronze. No, the maple. Is it the maple? No, it's not that one. I should have prepared this earlier, really, shouldn't I? Where is it? Come on. Okay, maybe it's this one, 13x3 bronze, but that's the rim. Where's the 13x3? That's rim B. Okay, I'm going to use that one. Yeah, that's fine. And I'm going to duplicate that, put that there, and put that there. That'll do. Then I'm going to get a hi-hat. I'm not too fussy about hi-hats. We can just get in any old thing. But we need a close and an open. Okay, that'll do. Let's put that one there. And then let's get the open version of that, PA13. Where would that be then? PA13. Right, that's the open. Now we're going to need to choke those. So let's go in here, select both of these. Can't actually see because the camera's in the way. Oh, well. Let's choke these to 16. Okay, I'll just mute my mic and you can listen to this. There we go. So let's get some other things. Let's get a ride cymbal in. Let's see, I'm not really too bothered about rides either. Let's just... mallet. What are... It's a bit dark. All right, that one will do. Now... Okay. Sorry, I'll mute my mic again whilst I sound check my cymbal. Okay, very good. So now let's just get some toms. Let's find toms. Let's go to drum. Where are we? Toms. Tom. Yeah, here we go. So I really only just want a mid and a low. So let's see what we've got here. Floor. No. Tom. Low. Brush. Hit. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Let's have that one. And then I need like a mid now. What's this one? Okay, that's fine. Good. And now let's get some crashes in there. We're going to need some of those. China, yeah, we'll put that there. And maybe a splash. Yeah, that one. And then I just want one generic crash here. All right, so there's my kit. Now let's have another little jam. Sorry about the shaky cam. The mount is mounted to the desk where I'm bashing it with my hand. So anyway, it's more about the concept than the visuals. Okay, so we've got a pretty nice sounding drum kit. That's fine. Now, this is when things are going to get a little bit fiddly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to group this and I'm going to close it down. Let's minimize it down. Oh my God, I've just hit the map button. Let's close that down. Where's everything gone? Right, okay, let's actually close this. That's fine. So I'm going to start with the bass. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer one bass on the kick so that when I press a kick, I'm also pressing a bass at the same time. So what am I going to use for that? Well, I'll use analog. I'm going to create a chain here and I'm going to drop analog in the chain. I'm going to rename that to bass. And then I'm going to group that. No, I'm not going to group it. Sorry. What I'm going to do is do a sound first. So I'm going to mute the drums and just find like a pretty decent generic bass sound to get me going. Set the envelope to about 2 and the envelope velocity to about 4. So if I hit it hard, I'll turn the mic off. And if I hit it soft, it'll open and close the envelope. Just a little bit of feel, a little bit of dynamics. And then I'm going to go to the amplitude envelope here. Actually, first thing we should do, set the voices to mono. I can't see, the camera's in the way. Right. And then, yeah, for the, I don't want any envelope velocity to the amplitude. So I'm going to turn that down. Pull the decay down, have it quite nice and long. Little bit of release, not too much, just less than a second. All right, so let's hear that with the kit. All right, so we've got a problem there because I'm actually triggering all the notes. So this is when things are going to get very fiddly. I'm going to get in a MIDI effect rack. I'm going to put that there. I'm going to create a chain. And I might just rename this chain to kick, just to keep, it's a little bit weird. Let's say bass kick. And then I'm going to go into the chain and I'm going to find that note and I'm going to isolate only that note. So now, no matter what I do, whenever I press that, I'm going to get a kick drum and that single bass note. This is what it sounds like. All right, so now I'm going to take a copy of that because I want to use this note here to also trigger the bass as well so that I can kind of alternate with 16th notes. So the way that I do my sort of drums is that I kind of have this sort of shape where I do the kick with my thumb, the hat with this finger or whatever. And then I use the snare with this finger, but I can also alternate between using the thumb to do the snare and also go underneath my thumb with my finger to do like a double. This is actually why this controller is better because the pads are bigger. On the push, it's a little harder. Anyway, so I want to also have this note here trigger the bass. So I'm going to move that up there. Now, the problem is that it's playing whatever that note is, which is probably C, C sharp, D, probably a G or something. So I'm going to get the scale in. I'm going to put the scale before the bass, and I'm going to put them all to C. So that no matter what happens, it's only going to play C. Now, this is when I'm going to get funky on the bass. So I'm going to turn on the global scale thing. And, well, actually, if you don't have Live 12, you won't be able to do this. Sorry about that. I should have said that earlier. Anyway, I'm going to turn on the global scale because it just makes things easier. Set it to minor blues. Then I'm going to get random. And I'm going to say, give me like 8 choices either side of that note 40% of the time. So now what's going to happen is that when I trigger either one of these notes, it might randomize the bass. In fact, it's doing it quite a lot. So I'm going to say 20% of the time. Okay, 16th notes are quite hard. Anyway, so that's it. Bass sound could be a little bit more exciting. Maybe let's go an octave down here. I was going to go for sort of like a kind of 70s Herbie Hancock, maybe Electric Miles sort of groove thing, but a little bit more sort of squeaky. Do I need to go like maybe an octave lower? I'll worry about this later. Okay, so let's move on. Let's try. So I've got my 3 snares here. And I want to layer in some instruments, maybe on some of these snares. I mean, I've got all of these free, but I want those for other things. So on this snare here, I'm going to layer in a electric piano. So let's go to instruments. Let's go to electric, and I'm just going to drop that there. And I'm going to go to the key selection, and yeah, I'll just leave it named an electric. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to isolate just that note there. So remember, we're using an instrument rack. We've got the drums there, the bass there, and this electric. And in fact, I've just realized that actually I could have done that there, but no, because I wanted to have multiple notes. So maybe I'm approaching this wrong. I don't know. In fact, yes, I've changed my mind. I'm going to undo that, and I'm actually going to do the note mapping inside the chain. So let's go to MIDI effects. Let's go to MIDI effect rack, put that there. Go into the chain, create a chain, the chain, and then go to key and find that note. What was it? That one. D. So, okay, let's mute the drums for a second and the bass. All right, so I'm going to, again, use the random, and I'm going to use the chord. The chord maybe before the random. I'm not going to turn the scale awareness on for the chord, but I will for the random. Now, maybe this might randomize a chord. No, till we turn the charts up. Okay, so the pitch is a little low, so maybe I'll go up a bit. Let's go up an octave. Right, let's have a listen to that. I haven't quite found my feet with it yet, but we're getting there. Quick celebration guzzle, because it's getting hot here now in the UK. It's about time. Okay, so let's crack on with that electric thing, because what I want to do now is I want to use the expression control to affect the note length of the chord based on velocity. So I'm going to pull in the expression control, I'm going to pull in the velocity, put that afterwards, and then on the first tab along the top we've already got velocity enabled. I'm going to use modulate for this. Is that note length? No, sorry, I didn't mean that. Not velocity, note length. My bad, I can't see the screen. So, yes, I'm going to use modulate this time just to be a little bit different. And I'm going to map that to the note length. So if I turn this down and right down, so when I press very lightly, sorry, let me mute the drums a second. Okay, let's come back here. When I press very lightly, very short. When I press very hard, 10 milliseconds. So what is that going all the way up to? Let's, yeah. Okay, we're sort of finding a sweet spot here. This is kind of actually when the modulate, I think, comes into play here, is that you can sort of find a nice negotiation between where you want your low setting to be and your modulated setting. So if I actually kind of went down to 25% on the output, I'm going to find like the hardest, longest point. Yeah, this is quite fiddly, but does pay off. Let's go a little bit higher. Let's go 40%. Okay, and I don't want that many voices. Let's say 4 voices. In fact, I think that's even too many. Should a chord have 4 voices? Of course it should. I'm being silly. Right. Okay, and then for this one, I want to have the same thing, but I want some different stuff to happen. So let's duplicate that, move that up. Now, probably what I should have done is actually put all of those MIDI effects on that chain. So I'll do that. Let's rename this to chord, spelled with 2 capital letters because it's 2024. Right, let's get all of this, that, through to that, and move that into this chain. Hope this works. Brilliant, it works. So now for this note here, we can have a different process, but we're still playing the same instrument. So this is good. I like this. So let's get the random in again. And this time I'm going to use the scale awareness, turn that on, and I'm going to give it like 100% chance, and I'm going to use this Alt button. So Alt like actually alternates up or down depending on the sign. So I'm going to say go both ways. It's going to go up and then come back down. Okay, let's go up an octave, maybe 2 octaves. Okay, we don't need 12 choices. Let's try 8. All right, actually, maybe I do want more voices. Let's have 8 voices on the electric, and then I can maybe do the chords and the lead at the same time. And I want to do the same thing. I want to modulate the note length based on velocity, or maybe it could just be on random. Let's try that. Let's go note length here. Let's go note length here, please. Thank you. Right, let's go map that to the note length. All right, let's see what this is like with the drums now. So I'll just mute my mic a second. Still finding my feet, but and also it all sounds a little bit clean, and you know we're gonna have to dirty it up a little bit. So, but we've got a lot of stuff already. We've got like the band is warming up. The one-man band is about to melt your face. All right, so we've still got like a handful of stuff to use. This is our second bass. We've got this thing here. We've got these 2 things. So I'm going to think about like having access. So this is kind of why I sort of like this kind of thing. It's sort of, this feels kind of nice and natural. And I maybe could mirror that. So I'm going to have something here. I'm going to go for like a kind of really synthy trumpet type of sound. So I'm going to do exactly the same process. I'm going to get an instrument. What shall I use for this? I'm going to use operator for this one. Let's get operator, put that there. And I'm just going to call this Syn Trumpet. Okay. Let's have a listen. Okay, so again, I want to, no, I want to do this in the chain, not on the rack. So let's go and get a MIDI effect rack, put that there like that. And then let's expand this out, create a chain and go to the key and isolate that note, which is B below C2. And we're going to need to do the same thing here. We don't want that note, so we need to scale everything to, well, actually I could have transposed it, but this is fine. Okay, now I'm going to pitch that up 2 octaves. And I'm going to go to the synth and I'm going to go to one voice. And I'm going to go to pitch, turn on the glide, set the glide to 75 milliseconds. And then find a nice raspy saw. And then I want a little bit of pitch modulation when the velocity is high. So we can do that here with this amount to velocity. Let's put that all the way up. So when I press very hard, it goes, and when I press softly, it does not. And I don't really want any velocity to volume. Okay, so now I want to kind of turn this into a little bit of a phrase generator just by tapping it. So similar to what we did here. We'll do that here, but maybe a little bit more interesting. So let's get the random in. And let's get the, well, let's just see what that's like. Let's turn the scale awareness on for that. I mean, that's already pretty good by itself. Maybe a little bit of, since I'm going for a synthy trumpet sound, maybe we can have a little bit of envelope on the filter. Sorry, I'll mute the mic. Okay, all right. So the sound is a bit silly, but... All right, I want to maybe make it a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to get the expression control again, and I'm going to get the note length again, and maybe again, I'll use velocity to note length. Let's try that. Yeah. So then we get a little bit of glide when the note is really long. So if I press it really hard and keep hammering it, the note will be really long, which will cause the synth to glide. But if I do it softly, perhaps even softer than that. So yeah, we've got a little bit of choice between having short staccatos or long legatos. Okay, I might have to do some more work on this synth sound. It's a little... Okay, so what else could we do? Well, maybe we could have like something similar on this pad, like a sort of slow fade in. So let's maybe, what could we do with this? Let's maybe use operator again. Let's get operator on this one. And I think maybe I'll do the MIDI rack thing again here. So let's create the chain, go to key, find the note, B flat. Okay, let's put that there. And then pull in the scale here and just pull everything down. And then maybe this could be like some sort of long kind of chord that we could just hammer and it will just give us a little bit of a breather. So let's get the chord in. Okay, let's go up in pitch. Let's go an octave up. Okay, and then let's get the random in, randomize all of these chords, turn on the scale awareness. Okay, so for this, we're going to have lots of slow attack. Let me adjust my microphone. There we go. And the note length has to be very, very long. So we'll put a very long note length in here. And lots of release. Yeah, lovely. Let's set this to saw. And maybe we could do a slow fade in on the filter as well. Do maybe we could have a second oscillator. This one's the same. Copy from, where is it? I can't see. Oh no, you do it here, don't you? Copy from oscillator A. Oh, wrong button. Yeah, but that one's slightly out of tune. All right, so there we go. We've kind of got our kit now. Our kit is all ready to go. It's another celebration guzzle. Okay, I'm going to mute the microphone and have a jam, see what this is all like, see how it feels, and then make decisions about what I want to do next. It's starting to feel pretty good, but it sounds a little meh. So the fact that we've kind of done all of these things in separate processes means that we can really mix everything really probably to production release level, because everything we've got is here in this one instrument. It's amazing. This is why computers are cool, yo. So let's start with the drums. We could just, you know, crush these a little bit, give them a little bit of drum bus perhaps. Let's put the drum bus on here. See if that's worked. I'll mute my mic again and have a look at what's happened. Why is that all opened up? Close that down. Close that down. I just want the drum bus, please. Thank you. Okay, that's very nice. That'll do. Let's go to the bass now. Let's minimize down that bass. And what are all those effects doing in there? Oh yeah, okay. Let's actually minimize all this down. Let's actually group all of this stuff. Groups within groups, madness. Sorry for the mic, everyone. I can't see the screen. Group that, minimize that down. Right, brilliant. So we could do something nice with the bass. We could give it a little bit of drive, maybe. Let's use saturator. Let's solo it a second. First of all, let's get a limiter so that we can drive this. Actually, we don't really need it. We just soft clip. Oh, well, I've done it now. Okay, that's good. right, now let's move on to the electric. So yeah, I really want this to sound like a sort of Herbie Hancock, Miles, electric era type thing. So this is pretty straightforward. We're just going to stick an amp on there and maybe see. Find a nice sound. Maybe we could go for rock with the gain down really low. No bass. Stereo? Don't think it's in stereo anyway. Okay, so maybe it's a bit loud. Let's hear it with everything else. Yeah, everything's a little bit loud. So I'm just going to get a limiter and put that on my master. Okay, let's come back here. Let's try that again. Yeah, maybe that operator, what should I call that? I'll just call that a pad. Maybe that's a little bit too raspy. Okay, but the electric is fine for now. Let's go to the synthesizer trumpet now. Let's let's minimize all this stuff. Oh my God, all these chains. Not really being very organized. It's very hard when you can't see the screen. Okay, so maybe for this, I might just use a little bit of overdrive. Maybe a limiter as well, just to keep everything. That's pretty good. So now I just really want to just sort out that pad. It sounds a little, I don't know, I'm not sure. Don't really like the way that filter envelope is releasing. Why is that? Yeah. Very sort of slow. Maybe I need to give it more. No, I want it to be more moody and dark. Like a kind of small cluster of French horns, but done with a synth. Maybe it's too high. Let's come down to 7. Okay, maybe it just needs like its own. I don't want to use delay though, because then you have to sort of stick to the delay time. Yeah, I'm not entirely convinced with that envelope filter envelope on the. Just going to do it with the amplitude. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Yeah, okay. I think that'll do. Maybe a bit of grunge. Let's maybe use the dynamic tube on this just to crap it out a bit. Let's set the bias to... Oh, it's already... Yeah. All right, so now all I want to do is just add a reverb. So let's go on a return track. And I'm going to go to the hybrid reverb. Pop that on there. I'm going to go to algorithm. No, I'm going to go to convolution, and then I'm going to go to springs. I want this to sound really old. Okay, let's turn that all the way up, and then we'll just send this to about there, and then I'm going to go to the EQ, go to pre-algo, and EQ out everything under 100 hertz. Okay, let's see what this is like. All right, so that keyboard is a bit loud, so we can adjust all the levels here just by pinging this over. Maybe come down a little bit with some of these. Let's have another go. One of those things where once you've got it up and running, I find it a little bit difficult to stop. Now that I'm doing this on this larger thing and it's so far away from me because of where I'm shooting it, I'm a little not really as good, but I can feel myself getting warmed up, and it really is one of those things that you can really zone out on, and you'd be surprised what journeys you can go on. It's really satisfying. And the velocity, I think, is really important. I think being able to sort of use the velocity in conjunction with the expression control, which I did somewhere. Where did I do that? I think I did it on the synth trumpet, is, really interesting for adding like phrasing and just making things sound a little bit more exciting, less robotic, and you've still got control over it. Same with the bass. Now, you can't obviously do songs. This is for jamming. This is for like very sort of free-form, psychedelic improvised stuff, which I'm into very much. And I'm very much into the idea of trying to get computers to do it. I'm not a purist by any means, but obviously, you can't be listening to real people. But there's no real people in the room right now except for me. And am I really real? Actually, I'm much better than... might try and do now is maybe record like a little performance via MIDI, just to see what that's like, maybe at about 90 BPM. But then I always get a little nervous about doing this stuff, but I'm going to turn the click on and see what. It's quite slow. Maybe I'll go up to 100, maybe. I mean, I can do 120 all right to the beat. I'm not the best percussionist or drummer by any means, but let's just have a go. That's enough of that. All right, so let's go in there, have a look at all that, and let's quantize it just to see what it sounds like. Quantize to 16th notes, wasn't really doing anything more than that. Start and end. Is that 16th notes? Yeah, all right. Let's have a listen to it back. Super quantized, see how we feel about it. Is it going to play? Oh, I think it's because I've got the monitor on. Let's go back to the ins and outs. Yes, let's turn that off. Let's turn record off. Now let's listen to it. my guitar out, do a ripping solo. All right, now let's hear it at 160. Brilliant. So my timing was a little bit off in places, but no, oh, okay, thank you. Let's hear it at 75. I'm just curious to see what it's like. Oh yeah, it's that time. I'm gonna slip into some comfortable loungewear. Do my laundry. Pants, rolling up the towels in my pants, rolling up the towels in my pants, rolling up the towels in my pants, and put them in the airing cupboard. Enough of that sleaze. So there you go. So that's basically that. So you can basically perform pretty much an entire jam in one drum rack and a little bit of this business. It's pretty exciting. Okay, I'm going to go put this on my Patreon now, where if you'd like to support the channel, you can download this Ableton project plus many, many more, and it all goes towards supporting this channel. And now I'm using my hands to talk like people who do videos about electronic music equipment. They come in and they talk about this with their hands, and it's really, really rather interesting, isn't it? They always do that. Okay, thanks everyone. See you next time. Bye.